Hi, everyone. Tiffany Joy Butler. I'm Assistant Curator of Public Programs here at the Museum, The Moving Image, and I am welcoming you to our amazing Marvels in Media Directors Roundtable. So I want to talk a little bit about Marvels in Media, but first a little bit about MOMI. If this is your first time going to a MOMI event, even virtually, the museum, The Moving Image, has been around since 1988. We're dedicated to the art, technology, appreciation, also social impact of the moving image, film, video, animation, video games, digital media. And and it's so great to host you all in today's events. And I also want to talk a little about Marvels in Media. I'm one of the co-organizers with Miranda Lee, and we have amazing program this year. Marvels in Media is an initiative that's dedicated to honoring media makers on the autism spectrum. And we have our award ceremony, an exhibition, and a festival. And this event is part of the festival. So we have lots of other amazing events happening in person this year, workshops, and a couple more film screenings, one more film screening. And so we hope you join us if you're in New York for those. So I'm going to give the rest to our panelists here and enjoy the program. Thanks everyone for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you, Tiffany Joy. Hello, everyone. Yeah, nice. Oh, yeah. I've got mine too right here. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There we are.
Amazing. Hello, everyone. I'm Jackson Tucker-Meyer. I was awarded a Marvels of Media award last year for a movie I made called Satan Cured My Autism. And this year I had the great delight and privilege of hosting the Marvels of Media Awards ceremony, as well as serving on the steering committee for Marvels of Media as well. Beyond that, I'm a playwright. Pronouns are he, they. I had a play produced by the Roundabout Theater Company Reverb Arts Festival called Banana Guy and Banana Girl with Banana Dreams in a Crazy World. And as far as current projects, I'm currently in the midst of helping to produce an original musical created in collaboration with autistic, neurodivergent, and disabled high schoolers and young adults through my day job that I love very much called Action Play. It's a really cool organization right here in New York City where I'm doing this call from. And beyond that, I'm trying to get a couple of plays off the ground, and I'm also working on a webcomic that might be out later this year. So keep an eye out for that. You can follow me on Instagram at Jackson Tucker-Meyer. And I'm going to popcorn the intro over to Jason. Jason, what's going on? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jason Weissbrod. I'm the co-founder of Spectrum Laboratory, speclabs.org on the internet, if you want to check out our stuff. We are a nonprofit organization that creates works of animation, film, music, and we provide jobs and training for actors, voice actors, and filmmakers, musicians. And we're based in Los Angeles, California. I had the pleasure of going to the Marvels of Media last year and winning this award along with my co-creator, Alani Shorin. We won an award called for our film Boys Don't Wear Dresses, which has a screening this Saturday in Los Angeles. If you're around and you want to come see the movie, it's about an autistic transgender individual who's learning about how to express themselves to their community and their family and the ones they love by saying that they're trying to come out, and how people are going to react to that. And we did it in a fairy tale form based on Cinderella. So it's a family-friendly PG film called Boys Don't Wear Dresses, and we're having a screening this Saturday in LA. And yeah, so Spectrum Laboratory makes films, music, all that good stuff at speclabs.org. And I'm currently working, I have a couple other short films that I'm editing right now through Spectrum Laboratory that I'm hoping to send to the film festival circuit. And this year at Marvels of Media, we had a short film of ours called Spectrum League at the screening that showed about a bunch of autistic superheroes, because that was the theme for the Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge last year, was superheroes. So we made a movie, and the Marvels of Media screened it this year, and the poster is up in the exhibit, the Spectrum League poster. And this year, Marvels of Media gave Spectrum Laboratory the Collaborative Innovation Award for a virtual reality video we did called Use Your Imagination. And a lot of this stuff you can find on our website, online at speclabs.org, and check us out. I'm super excited to be here and share any kind of knowledge I can with y'all. And I will popcorn over to Sue Ann.
Hi. Your film sounds amazing. I would love to see it Saturday, or if you have a screening, or if you have the invite, please send it to me. That sounds awesome.
Yes.
Esther Tejano is on.
Oh, this might be Jorge.
Is that Jorge?
Hello, hi.
Hello.
Sorry, I couldn't get in.
Oh, you're fine. It's good to see you. We're just doing intros right now. Sue Ann's just about to tell us about herself. So yeah, it's very, very lovely to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Jorge.
Yay. Oh, cool. So we're all here. So I'm Sue Ann Pien, and I play Violet on As We See It. It's an amazing show about young adults on the autism spectrum. Won an award. I tried to come out last year, and I caught COVID. Finally, I caught COVID, so it was awful. I didn't make it, or I mean, I tested positive. Maybe I didn't have it. There was one time that I did catch it. Yeah, so acting, I've been acting, most of my adult life. I love it. And I found that directing is a great vehicle to kind of, test out and try different types of characters, collaborate with friends, and just do do stories that I feel strongly about, that I care about. And so I have quite a few projects lined up right now. I have an avid love of space, Mars. So there's a few things that I've been doing in there that has to do with the environment as well, on a nonprofit kind of tangent. And also I'm directing my first short film, and I'm lucky enough to have producers, Darren Dean, who did the Florida Project, not Willem Dafoe. Was it Willem Dafoe? Yeah, he was Oscar nominated in that. Tangerine, amazing film shot. Sean Baker shot on the iPhone. And Suzanne Ellis, who's president of Beacon Pictures, and she's it's incredible. And we have Bella Zoe Martinez. She's a young actress on the autism spectrum. And the story's about females in the entertainment world who are on the spectrum, because we don't really fit in anywhere. You don't see storylines around us. I think Violet was groundbreaking to be the first Asian American female on the spectrum that was portrayed, in the way. And then now we're seeing, I'm also playing. I voiced June Chen on the Disney Channel's The Ghost of Molly McGee. So that just came out, which is really fun, very exciting. It was an ode to my dad's kind of aerospace past. And then I'm developing, series, different things. I write a lot of things, and it's fun. It's fun and exciting and collaborative. And I really enjoy finding other creatives, especially on the spectrum, to collaborate and work with. I find that it's so easy and joyful. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, and Jorge, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bio, any projects you might be currently working on, all that good stuff.
Sure. Jorge Gutiérrez. I'm from Mexico. I went to Cal Arts for experimental animation. My wife and I did a show called El Tigre, The Adventures of Manny Rivera for Nickelodeon. And then after that, I did a movie called The Book of Life with Guillermo del Toro as a producer. And then recently I did limited series for Netflix called Maya and the Three. And I didn't know I was on the spectrum until I was 40 years old. I'm 48 now. And all my work is about my life. And so all my characters, turns out, are autistic. I just didn't know it because I'm basing them on me. So literally the only life I know. So it's been kind of an amazing journey. And now, like many of you, I am now making a conscious effort to work with people who are on the spectrum behind the scenes and also in front of the screen, and have characters populate the new TV shows I'm developing and the new movie I'm developing, have characters on the spectrum. But I'm trying really hard to basically make the character its own character. Oh, by the way, he's on the spectrum, as opposed to a lot of the perceptions of characters I see, where it's almost like the diagnosis is the character. So that's kind of been the journey I've been on right now, and I'm super excited, obviously, because it seems like the world is more embracing of neurodivergence, and we're in a time where it's when I found out, my reps told me, you can't tell anybody, you can't come out of the closet, because they said it's just another reason for people not to hire you.
Mm-hmm.
Right, in Hollywood. And I remember at that time thinking, if I was younger and I heard this, I think it would have crushed me. It would have really, really messed me up. And then we had a big talk about, like, I was like, you guys can't say stuff like that. That's horrible. And again, I'm older, so I've been around. And I said, at this point of my career, if someone doesn't want to work with me because I'm on the spectrum, then I don't want to work with them. So I'm good.
Yeah.
All right, that's my intro.
Oh my gosh.
I love that.
So cool. Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's incredible you said that, Jorge, because, when my therapist found out, and I was older too, and she was like, don't tell anybody, you'll never get employed again. And I had no idea. And I mean, I've been working since 2004 as a SAG performer. And now I just got nominated for Spirit Award for this role. I got nominated for Gotham Award, and I have not gotten any roles. And you're seeing, like, wow, that's interesting. Like, everybody else is getting all these roles. And they're like, they're not telling you the autism thing. I'm experiencing it exactly right now. This is why. I've got, and can you imagine? And I was like, well, fuck that. Why don't we just make our own stuff and put as many people as we can? So you have to showcase our rate. Like autistic actors show up on time, know their lines. They are so professional to a T. I've never experienced problems with other autistic actors the way that, I'm gonna, dude, some of the things you hear about on set from neurotypicals, it's like, they did what? Like, how could you, what? And they still have a job? Like, why do these people have jobs? It's incredible to me. So I really want to champion that element of people who work really hard, and if they're talented, that the autism should not matter at all.
Yeah.
I feel like this is such a beautiful group. Like, we're all working to uplift the autistic community through the arts in our own individual ways. And that's really kind of what this whole Zoom get together is all about. It's, ideally for folks who are interested in potentially submitting to Marvel's next year, or just making something and seeing where it goes, and who are maybe just need that little extra push or burst of inspiration. So, and we've gotten some really cool questions in advance from folks who are attending here, so I definitely want to get into that. But first, I want to just ask y'all, how do y'all create opportunities for yourselves? How do you get started and go from that point where it's just an idea to where you're actually beginning work on it? How do you really get started with stuff?
Yeah, I'll go first. Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm pretty relentless. I'm especially when I went to film school, I kind of figured out really early, the only way to get better is to do it, right? To do the thing a million times. And people, especially in this industry, they won't hire you to see if you can do it. They'll hire you if you've done it, and now they want you to do it for them. So basically what I learned early on was, I'm going to do as many animated shorts as I can. And every time I do one, I'll just get better. And you do 1,000 drawings, guess what? Drawing 1,001 is the best one. So I would get assignments and they would, design a character. I would design, it was really hard, but I would design 10 characters, not show it to any of my classmates because they would hate me, and then curate and pick the first one or the best one that I thought had the most flair, and then turn that one in. So my way was, I'm going to cheat behind the scenes to get better. And I can't choose how much talent I have, but I can choose what I do with my time. And I'm just going to outwork everybody. So that was kind of my mission. And it really messed me up, as far as my health, because I was obsessed. And looking back, that was not very healthy. But honestly, that's what got me started. I made an internet cartoon. I put it up on the internet. I got tons of views. Sony Pictures bought it and said, hey, crazy kid, how much did this cost? I said, well, it costs nothing. I said, okay, if you did that for no money, what will you do if we give you money? And that's basically how I got started. And so I was the guy who you'd hire, and he just over-deliver. And after a while, that's just, the more stuff you do, the more work you got. And it just kept going. As I got older, I realized that's not healthy. But when you look at people's stories of how they made it, nepotism aside, most people had to work really hard, have been rejected a bazillion times. And so if that rejection can fuel you to get better, you're set. Because it's coming. That rejection there's no way to avoid it. And it's not because your stuff is not good, or it's not because you're not good. It's because a lot of times, whatever you're doing doesn't fit in what the studio or the project needs at that time. But you're still you. And so separating, and I think honestly, that has helped me as far as being on the spectrum, separating myself from the work and the classic phrase of don't take it personal. I'm that guy. I don't take it personal at all. Like when Nickelodeon canceled our show, my wife to this day, this is 15 years ago, she will never work with Nickelodeon, right? The people who killed the show don't even work there anymore. But out of principle, she won't work with them. The day they canceled our show, I told them, thank you for spending $20 million on our show. I can't wait to do something else. Thank you. Thank you for paying us to get better. So that's how I approach it. And I'm a masochist.
Aren't we all?
Wow, that was incredible. I mean, that's basically like exactly, because I don't know, Jorge, if you know, I run a nonprofit in LA that works with autistic, neurodiverse, disabled individuals, and to get them to like a path to get to the entertainment industry. It's like I had that conversation all the time. It's like you need to know the rejection is not personal. Like this is the business you work in. Just keep making your craft, just keep doing what you do and do what you love. And eventually people are going to notice. If you just sit at home and wait for them to call, nothing's going to happen. And that's such an important lesson you just taught a lot of people who are watching, because you're successful and the reason why you're successful at it is because like you just had to do the work. You're relentless, as you said. And that's something you can teach, but it's something that's born in a lot of people who are successful, is that perseverance, that drive, that just like, I have to do this. I don't know anything else. This is what I do. So I think that's a big part of starting. Just try to tell your story as much as you can, get it out there any way you can, and meet people that are like-minded and awesome, and work with them too.
I guess I'll go, Jackson, although I want to hear from you.
Yeah, for sure. Go for it.
Wow, I don't even remember what the question was, guys. I'm
Oh
enraptured
yeah,
by
just
what
like
you said. It's
how do
so
you
great.
get started on a
How
project?
do you get
Like creating
started?
opportunities for yourself.
Oh yeah, I think this is where the neurodiversity, like autistic obsession. If I love something, I won't sleep. I will work on it nonstop until it's done to exactly how. And that's a lot. I made a lot of music videos, and that it was like this idea will hit me, and suddenly I'm like, I see who could be here. This is gonna be the perfect EP for this. Yeah, I have a huge network of friends, actors, and I'm just like, you're gonna play this role, da 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 da, right? And everything just comes, and it's literally like when you're on fire, everyone just becomes like a chess piece, right? That's like you see the board, and then you're just putting the board together. So every kind of world is its own project that, ideally I would just step out of the way and put the pieces together when I direct. I'm just like, here's the location, I already see this, da, da, da. And I'm very visual, so a lot of times I'll be inspired visually by things. And then the rest of it, like Down by the Water is featured in The Advocate years ago. I used to give trans kids a place to sleep, because they had no job, like no jobs, no nothing. I was like, what the hell is wrong with society? Like, this is the population that deserves so much love and care, and a lot of them were abused by their families and homes. And so I wanted to make this music video to honor them. And it was like, yep, some kind of spiritual, energetic force was like, we're going to make this happen. People come into my life, and it's like, this is a perfect fit. You're supposed to do this or that. And there's like a passion, right? It's like what Jorge is saying. You can't stop. It's almost like it goes beyond, like, you meet people who are like, this is something that I think autistic people have, this like drive, this passion, special interest. If you love films, filmmaking, acting, it's like it never feels like work. A day on the set will never feel like work. But if you're doing something that you're not really supposed to, you meet a lot of people who are like, why are you even doing this? Like, it's such a waste of your life, right? It's like you don't need to be here doing this because you really don't care about the people you work with. And I think that's the thing where you're going to get a lot of really authentic, passionate engagement. Autistic people put 1,000% of what they're doing into what they love, and usually that's going to turn into success because, like, you're working 10,000 hours more, and it doesn't feel like work. You're obsessed. So
Yeah, totally. Yes to all of that. I definitely find for me that deadlines help a lot, whether they're like self-imposed or externally imposed. I think deadlines are the antidote to perfectionism. And like right now, I guess it's like National Playwriting Month. So like I've got this play that I've been just picking and poking at forever, and I'm gonna try and get it done by the end of the month. We'll see how that goes. But like that was kind of how the movie that I made for Marvel's last year came about, because it was super random how I even found out about Marvels and media. I met Cheryl Henson, who's been a big part of this program, at like a puppet thing in like the Lower East Side. And I was like sort of like nudged to introduce myself, which I never would have done of my own volition, because I'm definitely like a very loud introvert, basically. But I had a buddy who was like, hey, she saw this like puppet piece that you like sound design for, like go over and talk to her. So I was like, hey. And she was like, oh, you're autistic, right? I had mentioned that I was autistic in the program. It was my first time ever doing that, ever being like really super open about it. And she was like, oh, we're doing this thing at the Museum of the Moving Image. It's due in like January. You should submit. I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta come up with something now. So that was in like mid-November. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to have a camera when I go back to my parents for Thanksgiving. It's not a great camera, but I could possibly make like a fake documentary with it, and that could be plausible. So I knew the resources I'd be working with. I'd have a camera, no actors really, except for myself, not many locations except for my parents' house. And from that, I like had 2 weeks to come up with the idea, essentially figure out like what I was really interested in exploring, and then 2 weeks to sort of script it out and buy all the props and bad wigs and everything that I'd be wearing for it, and then 2 weeks over like Christmas break to like come back and like actually shoot the darn thing. And I like gave my parents like a full shooting schedule and everything. And then I got the free like month trial of Adobe, and I edited it over like the month, like right up to the deadline. So having that particular deadline and month really like got the wheels turning as far as I was concerned. So beyond making it and like getting really into the creative process, how, once you're finished, I know that like we've had questions from audience members about getting your film out there once it's done, networking, navigating the social aspect of getting your movie out there as an autistic person. So I'm wondering, how do you navigate the networking side of movie making or show making or what have you? Or what advice would you offer to somebody who is like trying to?
It's such a tough question. It's such a tough question because I mean, we keep going back to the fact that it's a tough business. You know, it really is a tough business, and so there's no real answer for is like how do you network and how you do that. Thing is if you are someone who is not good at socializing and schmoozing and doing that whole thing, maybe find people who can share your vision with you.
Oh, I think you froze.
It's like who you know, right? You know, it's a lot of who you know, and a lot of the jobs I've gotten or have been able to get other people jobs has been because of like, a lot of them have been because of like contacts of who I know. And from working with someone on this project. So I think like networking is like, it's that same thing that Jorge was saying earlier, is just relentless work. Just always looking for people who are doing projects that are a lot like yours that you're doing, like people who are interested in that kind of content that you're doing, and be relentless. Just, you know, go right to them, go to their meeting, go to their exhibit, go to whatever they're working on, and you know, don't tap them on the shoulder and talk to them the whole time and be intrusive, but go to learn, you know, educate yourself on the type of stuff you're creating, like who's looking for that. So that's the kind of the best advice I could do as far as networking is it's work, hustle. You got to get out there and meet people. Yeah.
I would encourage volunteering at events, volunteering at conferences. You know, especially if someone's pursuing animation, Lightbox and CTN and, you know, WonderCon and Comic-Con, all these things, just volunteer. Volunteer at a CIFA, at the Annies, all that stuff. And then if you can, create a network of like-minded people, exactly what Jason's saying, who are kind of starting on the journey with you. And if you help and support others, guess what happens? They help and support you. And as you go up, you all go up. And as people start getting jobs and they go, hey, you are pretty amazing, we love what you're doing. Do you know anybody else like you? Guess who they're going to recommend? And vice versa. If you're not a good team player and you're not good, you know, it's a very small industry, people are going to hear about that stuff. So you have to be very smart about the version of yourself that you put out there. You have to be a team player. You have to get along with others. And for a lot of us on the spectrum, we're so used to just doing everything on our own. But the way this works is you work with others. So I had to force myself to learn that stuff. I'm not a social person at all. I literally go to events and go, this is work. And I need to be here and I need to do these things because the people I admire did this to make the things that I admire. So this is part of the thing. And the biggest lesson for me, honestly, was if you fall in love with the results, you're screwed. Because the results, especially in animation, won't happen very often. And a lot of times it won't even be up to you if the results happen. But if you fall in love with the process, you're going to be happy all the time. So that mindset, it took me years to figure that out. And, you know, it's the fortune cookie of, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. That's basically that. But if you apply it to your work and you really get into the work and you really get into doing the work and making sure that the stuff you love fits in, the production and it fits in the pipelines and the hierarchy of things that are getting made. But if you fall in love with that, you'll look back 5 years from now and go, "Holy cow! Look at all the stuff I made." It's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. So you have to program. We have that advantage. You program yourself.
Yeah, definitely. So much of what y'all are saying is sparking stuff for me. Because my main frame of reference is like the New York theater world. Like me making a movie was almost like an anomaly for me. And so I've over the years like cultivated various communities in very different ways. I was fortunate enough to go to theater school where I built a very strong cohort there. And then I sought out neurodiverse theater organizations in the city and got hooked up with Action Play, started volunteering there, made myself useful, and now I'm like director of programs over there. Also, I forgot to mention the musical that we're doing is going up next month in New York, May 13th and 14th. It's going to be called OMG, It's Magic School. It's a great time. But yeah, get back to networks. That was very cool, like seeking out like-minded people who are making work in the same way that I would like to make it. I've also obviously applied to stuff like Marvels of Media, and more recently this group called the BMI Lehman Engel Musical Theater Workshop, where it literally is just like a submission and you just like send in your work. There's no real like chit chat involved. You just bring in your work and the proof is in the pudding, more or less. And then beyond that, as far as like networking, one of the nice things about networking is that people at a certain level recognize like the artifice of like how so much of networking works. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna talk about stuff and we'll exchange business cards. Like it's a little like formulaic in like a fun way, and it's like people recognize like how silly it is on a certain level, but also how necessary. So people embrace like the goofiness of it, I've found more often than not. And also just like honestly, Instagram is a wonderful thing, y'all. I've made lovely friendships with writers and artists who I really respect just by like sending them a DM and being like, hey, I really enjoy your work. Like, let me know if you want to like Zoom sometime. And people kind of enjoy that to a certain extent. The other thing that I'll say too is that, I've had the opportunity to make the friendship and acquaintance of like folks who are like pretty like high up in terms of creating stuff and even like producing stuff. And the thing about like reaching out to these folks is that people really love to be in the role of a mentor. People like giving advice. They like being called upon to give advice. And it's really like a very like minimal thing to ask of somebody. And, the worst they can say is no, of course. So the people love to give advice. People don't really love to be put in the position of like, can you put me on? Can you give me a job? Because the thing that I've also learned is that like, no one person really has that power at the end of the day, but like people love to like chat about their own personal journeys and love to impart like whatever advice they give and like send the ladder down a little bit. So like that's it's a little weird to like put yourself out there and that kind of thing, but it's everybody who you're putting yourself out there to has also been in that situation, and more often than not people want to help. So I will say that as well. Totally. And also what Jason said too, yeah, bring a friend if you can. Like an endorsement from somebody carries a lot of weight as opposed to like just you saying it. But also I feel like networking and job interviews are also like the two spaces where it's like socially acceptable to brag about yourself a little bit, and just social media too, I guess. So that's also nice. Like don't feel ashamed about tooting your own horn. Yeah, I'm seeing some lovely questions in the chat. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people are interested. I'm seeing a question. Hope you guys can address talent with disabilities and getting gigs, representation, etc., including voiceover talent. I know people have been asking about how to get cast or find work on disability or neurodiversity friendly projects or voiceover. I know I can speak to one resource that I recently found out about that's really cool. The Disabled Voice Actors Database is really cool. It's run by a casting agent named Danielle Demchik, who is really passionate about increasing inclusion in the entertainment industry. And if you're want to be a voice actor, you can literally just like fill out this little Google form and you'll get plugged into like an emailing list and like a Facebook group and all this cool stuff. I just signed up the other week on like a whim, and I've already gotten sent like a 15-second spot for Nickelodeon to like audition for. So it's like legit stuff, and it's really low effort in terms of signing up for that. So that's a really cool resource that anybody who's interested in really getting into voiceover should definitely check out for sure. I know that Respectability does like a lot of really cool work as far as increasing disability advocacy and self-advocacy in the arts, and specifically in the entertainment industry. They're very cool. If you're in New York, yeah. If you're in New York, you can check out Action Play. Like, we do cool stuff. We've got an audition workshop going on right now. It's like a Zoom audition workshop. So we do that intermittently. Jason, you were going to say something.
Oh, no, there's organizations, if you're lucky to be in a city that has like Los Angeles, New York, and that has organizations like Spectrum Laboratory in LA or Action Play out in New York. Or if you're not in LA, you still reach out to those organizations, because we have a lot of mentors who do Zoom one-on-ones, who do trainings. So you don't have to be in that city, but like research and look into different organizations that work on the stuff that you want to do. It was like I was saying before, like whatever you're passionate and creative in, whether it's making animation or whether it's being a voiceover actor, look at how other voiceover actors get representation, and go watch workshops and try to meet different people online. And if you're lucky and you have a community in your area, go, because really the best thing you can do is practice. So go into acting classes for on camera and voiceover, just practice. It's like playing piano. You're not all of a sudden be in the orchestra at the LA Phil if you want to play piano, because that's kind of how tough this business is. It's like getting a voiceover role on SpongeBob is not easy, So it's like you really have to practice and get out there and get seen and create your own projects, and and find communities or really cool classes or other people who are doing similar stuff that you do, and reach out and talk to them. And I know it's a frustrating business as far as getting auditions, especially for actors. And Sue Ann, I'm sure you could talk about that a lot. And voiceover acting, and it's the same. Voiceover acting is very tough to get into. It's a very small group of people, and so it's tough. But you know what? If, like Jorge said, if you love it, you're passionate, you're relentless, like people will notice. And especially if you love the process. This is one thing. The last thing I'll say about this is a lot of neurodivergent folk I work with are 10 million steps in the future. They're like, when am I going to be on that Netflix show? Instead of enjoying the process. It's about enjoying. If you can enjoy the auditions, which is really hard to do, but if you can enjoy the auditions and you can enjoy making weird movies with your friends in your parents' backyard, and you can enjoy the process and not worry if it's going to get picked up or the script you're writing is going to get sold. Like, if you can try as much to get out of the mind frame of when am I going to be on Netflix, and enjoy what you're doing and who you're creating with and your community, that's really the love. Because Jorge said it beautifully before. He's one of the reasons he's happy is because he enjoys that process. And when somebody rejects you, just say thank you. Thanks for seeing me. I love it. Thank you. That was awesome. I'm not right for this project, but maybe in a couple of years you'll remember me. because I had a great positive attitude, and that goes a long way in this business.
Yeah, I'm down to like when I get horrible notes, I'm like, wow, I've never seen such awful, beautiful notes in my life. A new level, chef kiss. This is glorious. Like, and that, it's all a big game at this point. So I really enjoy it. But going by what Jason's saying, I saw this in film school, and I really recommend it. So voice actors, and of course, you guys have a lot of experience with this, but the more you do it, and the more you work, and the more directors you work with, the more, literally, the better you get. And so if you're starting out, volunteer for free to do voice acting at animation schools, at animation programs. Put it online. I'm willing to audition for your thing for free. I'll do your voices for free. You just literally, you want to get experience, and you want to get that. Putting on the headphones, being in a booth, something magical happens to people. The more you do it, all that stuff disappears, and they can just focus on the performance. But if you're just doing it on your own by yourself, it's very different than being in a room full of engineers and producers and directors and going, all right, do that again, but faster, funnier, and heartfelt, and make me cry and laugh. Go, do it 3 times. And that stuff is just experience. It really is experience. So as much as you can do it. And then I tell all directors, act in your own things. The best way to be a good director is to act, because that way you can communicate a lot better. And vice versa, by the way. I think all actors should direct.
Yeah, and I think all actors should learn how to be editors.
Oh, absolutely.
Editing is like where the movie's made, and people don't realize that. So if you want to be a better actor, learn how to edit.
Yep.
Yeah, totally.
I'm actually, I'm with the only agency in all of Los Angeles, and probably across the US, that actually has a specialized disability division. You have Zach from Peanut Butter Falcon. The first time I ever saw him act, he won, the film, I think, won an Oscar. He was part of my friend's camp at Xena Mountain Farm, and they did movies for people with and without disabilities. And it was incredible because they just got together and had an entire community and made these beautiful films that went on to go to like win awards and, get into Showtime. It was so, and I remember being there with Zach, and he has Down syndrome, right? And he was playing a villain. And I was like, holy cow, this kid can act. This was years before he did Peanut Butter, because if somebody has the skill set, like everything else is just superfluous, right? It's like, and so that was really cool. And I just put the lead actress of the short I'm directing, I set her up with our disability division, and now she has agents, which is so exciting. She was really interesting and different and varied, and both her brother and her sister are on the spectrum, and they do voiceovers. I've never seen animation like her brother can do. It's so good. It's like, it's like a robot drew it. It's technically perfect, the lines and structure. Oh my God, like Alex and Kennedy, I was like, these guys need it. So I was like, I was talking to producers. I was like, is there a way we can like showcase their talent somehow? Because people have it's unfortunate, and I was on the show, and we employed so many autistic disabled actors from all over, because thank God we had Elaine Hall from the Miracle Project, and she runs classes. She won an Emmy for, the autism musical, and people would come for those scenes, and they would be extras on set. And every time they came, it was like the set was just lit up with this kindness and love that was so beautiful and joyful. It was like so giving, right? Like the atmosphere changed. And so, I would have loved to continue that in any way, behind the camera, in front of the camera. Also, like Jorge said, like it wasn't until I started directing, I think, I directed a music video just because I'm married and I have a wife, and she needed some videos. They were like, do you want to do it soon? I was like, why not? I have a lot of unemployed actor friends. And we got together, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so tired, because I was on set like 15, 16 hours. I was like, do not come. on set late if you're an actor, please, because the rest of the crew is sitting there like, oh, it was like 100 degrees, or like maybe up until like 3 a.m. And you're like, the actor has the easiest job in the world, literally. You come on set and you take a nap and rest, drink some coffee before you go and deliver your lines. Just know your lines. You know what I mean? Like, just get the crew in and out. Do your job because it's the easiest job in the world, right? It's so fun. It's like the funnest thing ever. And if it's not, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Right, that's it. Like, or you're doing it for the wrong reasons, and it's not going to work anyways. So, but yeah, being creative for its own sake, so fun.
Yeah. Sue Ann, real quick for the audience, what is the name of this agency you mentioned that works exclusively with like?
Yeah, Kazarian Measures Ruskin, and for the longest time, Gail Williamson headed KMR's Disability Diversity Division, and Katie McGrath just took it over. And I'm sorry, I just cussed. I love Katie. Like, yeah, you're in such like I helped my friend Samantha Hyde. She had to do this like audition, and this is what we do. We're like, are you available? Can you run my audition? Yes, if I am. Can you run lines with me? And she was perfect for, and so we ran it together. And she booked the film, and she's on the spectrum. She's an autistic actress. She was asking me to do the disability superhero challenge, but I was on set shooting, as we see it. And I think I had contracts where I was like, I don't know if I can be on cameras. And sometimes you'll see my music videos. I'm like kind of in them, but not. I was like, is this okay? Or did I just breach my contract? But so I helped Samantha do her auditions, and she booked this incredible role. And it's with Jean Smart, Wildflower. And I was like, when's your movie coming out? Like, literally, the mentoring process is so fantastic because you're watching, and you could say things to like, you're like, don't do that on set. Don't be the problem child. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Or like you could be like really real with people and be like, here's how you got to do it, because you're autistic. People are going to think you have no range, you can't act, and you're going to have to go extra above and beyond. And we just ran another audition voiceover for her, and I was like, Sam, here's because I've been working with her for years, so I know her range and how talented she is, right? But so when she's auditioning, it's like, yeah, we get it when you're on set in the rooms with the director, you're probably going to run it pretty fast, like, and you're just going to do whatever they're going to want you to do. But you got to show them that you can go from A to B to Z to D to do the whole spectrum of E. Like, you have to work so much harder just because you have that label now as being disabled. And people are not going to want to take a chance on you. Which is unfortunate.
Totally. Yeah. Oh, and I also just want to mention that superhero film challenge you mentioned. That's another cool resource that people should apply to. It's the Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge, and it's like a challenge to make 5-minute movies. Jason, I know you're a regular.
Yeah, I just our Spectrum Laboratory film class just made a movie called Hands. It's a whole puppet love romance with hands. Check it out. Like, that's a great example of like finding a community or getting friends together and making a movie for this. If you can't do it now, it's like right after. I wish it was like right before, so you could say, hey, go do this challenge. But they do it every year. Nick Novicki runs an amazing organization over there, and it's awesome. Like Peter Farrelly, I don't know how you say, is it Farrelly? Actually, one of the actresses from one of the films last year, he saw her in that film and cast her on his new TV show. So, and, there's lots of great things that come out of the Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge. One of the questions here was like, how do you cultivate a community and find people? It's like what we've been talking about, because I know we have to wrap up soon. So it's like, reach out to me at Spectrum Laboratory. I'll look at our website at speclabs.org and just start a conversation with me, and reach out to Jackson at Action Play, and just that's finding a community. It's really, I think like one of the main things that keeps coming from this conversation is being relentless. I love that before, but like building your community and finding your voice. And, one of our mottos at Spec Labs is let us be heard. And it's like, you have to have a collaborative community. You have to have support, and you have to, because it's really hard, and you need support. You need people when you don't get that audition to get your back, like Sue Ann's saying, and have a friend that can help you work on your projects. And it's really a lot of neurodivergent folk are in the world, and, and want to write on their own and don't want to let others in. But I really, one of my biggest mentors told me, you know, if you let other people's in, it's the only way you're going to grow. And you really learn that working on film sets, because, you know, you think your ideas might be the best, but then somebody says something and you immediately go, no, 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 no. And then like 10 minutes later, you're like, wait a minute, that does make it better. And it's letting others in and finding, you know, I think that's, you know, if you want to get involved with Marvels of Media next year and make a film for it, find other people who want to make a film. Do Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge, reach out to people. You know, I just wanted to get that in before, because I saw that question from someone saying, you know, how do you find this? How do you cultivate the community? How do you find that? And it's like, you got to research, you got to look out there. And if you really want it to happen, you can create it, you can manifest it, you can make it happen for you. It's positivity stuff, but staying positive, staying strong, and support others.
Yeah, yeah. And the cool thing about Easter Seals too is I believe you can do it like from anywhere. And they actually just dropped their slate of like latest releases like today, I think. So definitely check those out on their YouTube page.
Yeah, I gotta plug ours. Watch Hands.
Yeah, and you can just like make it
ours.
with your
Hands.
buddies. I mean, another thing that I'll say for folks who are just trying to like figure out like how to get started with a project or like be creative on a regular basis, like make it a habit. Like autistic folks, we're like really good at like forming habits and routines. Like that's what I'm doing right now. Like I got this like comic that I'm working on, like I'm writing in, my buddies doing the art, and like we've all got day jobs, we got lives, but we carve out a little time on like Sunday afternoon to like work on this thing, and we just get it done little by little. And now we're just like, we gotta do it Sunday. Like it feels weird if we don't do it. It feels wrong. It's strange. All discombobulated. So that's forming a habit is a good way, and like getting into a little like routine and ritual. We've got one last question that I would love to read out. It's from an audience member, and I would just love to read it out in its entirety because I think it's very powerfully worded. It says, in the current landscape of art and animation, it feels pretty dire. From the write-offs by large corporations shelving people's work to the propulsion of AI stripping us of value, what can we do to protect the craft of creating?
I'll jump in.
Go for it.
So Hollywood was born during the Great Depression. In the worst of times, people need to escape. People need to create. People need to connect emotionally. So if you look historically at the entertainment industry and you look historically at the arts, the best work has happened at the worst times. So what a time to be alive. We're going to be making amazing stuff. And I really believe the pendulum will swing back. Again, historically, that's what happens, right? We're not going to take any risks. We're going to do super safe commercial things. Oh man, don't stop making money. I guess we got to take risks again. All those famous IPs, guess what? They turned out to be originals at some point, right? Before Star Wars was Star Wars, it was an original crazy idea. So I think you just gotta, it's a marathon. So you just gotta stay in the race and wait it out and just keep working. And you know, it's like the pandemic. I have friends who, you ask them, hey, what'd you do during the pandemic? And it was like, I think I did the best work of my life. So thank you, pandemic. So use this magical time, and it will define, you know, adversity defines you. Just like power reveals you, I think adversity defines you.
That's so good. It's like tagline.
I feel like we should just stop right there. Like, well, hey, good night. That was awesome. Yeah.
It's so cool. God, I forgot the question. I'm so sorry, Jackson.
Oh, yeah. What can we do to protect the craft of creating with all this stuff that's going on?
Oh, I mean, there's so many different ways. Like, I remember I was cooking. I suddenly started to I was obsessed with cooking in the pandemic because, you know, like there was just nothing going on. I couldn't do anything. And then it became this like hours and hours a day of just Googling recipes and like things I couldn't eat in the restaurants anymore. I'd be like, I think I could make Thai basil clam. And then it became like so creative in a whole different, you know, people have family, I'm sure So there's always creativity outlets, right? But yeah, I remember just like having an idea, like, oh, I'm going to make mascarpone with cherries, and some overnight oats, and then imagining like how it's supposed to taste when it's done, and then going to get the ingredients, like, and then when you make it and it actually comes out the way that like it's supposed to, I was like, and it tastes good. That's so fulfilling, right? And that's like making a film or a movie too, right? You're like, oh, it looks and feels the way that I envisioned. Some of them don't, and you're like, that was a really ugly baby. But you learn a lot, right? You're like, well, I know this friend's strengths, or we had a lot of fun doing, and wouldn't do this again. That was really hard because adversity defines us. The mistakes, and yeah, as an actor, you're gonna hear no probably 99.9% of the time. And this is what Cynthia said. Even before she said, my wife, she goes, it's just a numbers game. So if you look at it, if I stayed acting and auditioning long enough at this, before I booked As We See It, I was like probably a good 18, 19 years in. And it's still, if you look at my resume, you're like, well, what has she done? Right? You're like, and I've earned money every year as a SAG after actor, but it really was like, eventually it's just whoever's in the game, like, just keep going. And then, almost everything I've ever gotten was like a friend called a friend, or an agent was a friend. There was like, it's your relationship. Like, even just now, I just shot something. It's one of my favorite agents I used to have, and she became one of the managers on our side. And now she's producing movies. And because she's known my range before, probably the world only knows me as Violet, I think that's it. Like, but she was like, oh, can you do this? And I was like, yeah. So it's like your friends are going in relationships, your connections, your networks. The directing movie I'm doing, the only reason I'm doing that is Elaine Hall, who is the on-set advocate and at the Miracle Project, she said something to me, a script, and she was like, they want you to be in it. And I was like, how about I'll be in it and I direct it, right? Because that's something that's going to be joyful. And then they were like, yeah. And I was like, oh, they said yeah, so let's go. Let's do this. Why not?
Yeah.
I think we need some money, but I don't think it'll be an issue for those guys, those pros over there. Pros. They fund multi-million-dollar projects. They'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jackson, I love
Jason?
you. Can I just? I'm already. I just
Aw.
love you. I look at
Oh,
your
me
face,
too,
and
man.
I feel joy. I feel so much joy. I don't know why. I'm so sorry. I blurted that out loud.
No,
You're just
yeah, this
incredible.
is such a cool group. Oh my gosh. Like I've met Jason before, but I never met either of you. It's just so lovely to make both of y'all's acquaintance. It's a really, really beautiful thing.
Yeah, this
and
has
it's
been
a
really great, you
beautiful combo.
guys. I really appreciate it.
You guys are awesome.
Yes. I
Yeah.
think the main thing, find a community, make stuff, find a community, reach out. People are awesome out there. Whether, if you're
Nick
feeling,
Novicki. We were just
if this person's feeling
dire.
dire, feeling dire, we'll create,
Yeah. And I'll say also, like, it's all about like telling a cool story at the end of the day. Like, that is the thing that AI will probably never be able to do, at least in our lifetime, because it is emulating the consciousness of a being that has never touched grass in its life. Like, just make your story as specific and weird and like from your like crazy point of view as much as you can, and people are gonna connect with it, whether you got like a Netflix deal or it's just like you and your phone. Like a cool story will always like get stuff across. So
cool story will always win. I mean, look
Heck
at all
yeah.
these amazing huge movies were made this year, and then these wacky Daniels win the Oscar with Everything Everywhere. I mean, it's
So
just
cool.
it's a perfect example of, if you got a story and you're unique and creative and you're out, you want to tell it, like, people will come around and see it. Who knew the Daniels would take out Spielberg at the Oscars one day? It's amazing,
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah, create, get out there, meet people.
Oh my God, that was awesome.
Yeah.
You guys.
Oh my gosh, this has just been the coolest. Sue Ann, Jason, Jorge, thank you all so much for taking part of this. Thank you, Tiffany Joy, as well as Miranda Lee and the Museum of the Moving Image for hosting us. And of course, thank you all to everyone who viewed this tonight and sent in your beautiful, heartfelt questions. Y'all are amazing, and I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your night.